Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another Usipites video. Patch 11.2 was just announced with a ton of new goodies coming into it. And in today's video, I wanted to review and go over some of the amazing transmog options that are going to be available to us in patch 11.2. Which ones are the big winners? Which ones are the big losers, maybe depending on your role in the game, as this can have significant influence as to what you're going to play for this patch. Because as we know, transmog is forever and parses only last for a patch. Now, if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, educational and entertaining content, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. But let's just start with one-handed weapons. There is obviously a huge influence on the Void with this patch. As you can see with the one-handed axes, we have lightning animations, flowing Void coming through this axe. It's giving TBC vibes with like this up-res of graphic quality that they've been able to provide to this. It comes in pink, it comes in teal. I want that for my current Death Knight set right here. This one looks amazing in this color for some type of like necromancer style. We have dark purple obviously for the Void in the shadow columns with kind of a blue light outline with the lightning animations. A lot of focus around lightning here, into more of a purple, into a omega dark purple one. This one looks really cool with the Void. It looks like it's just going to cut like a portal open, a rift open with this one. Definitely my favorite so far from the one-handed axes. And then we have red if you want to go for more of a standard kind of fire type, but obviously I think this patch, likely leading into the expansion, is going to be a lot more focused around Void. We have some green items that are likely quite coming from questing zones as well, with nice little orbs animated into the center of the axes kind of hilt right here, with some nice animations coming through with it as well. These mostly focusing on purple colors. When we look at the one-handed swords, we got some interesting takes here with kind of like a broken blade with just hovering animations of glass coming together with more lightning themed. Same pink, same kind of necromancy colors, all coming into the same palette with some purple as well. Lightning remains the same throughout. Dark purple one, kind of leaning into this color, is my favorite for the patch. Red, obviously, for these one-handers as well. And when we look at the maces, we've got a little bit more of a focus around kind of like Void Walkers. They've kind of like turtled this up almost like Protoss, with this orb protected by all these different shields, as if it's trying to contain some sort of powerful nether energy that's inside of it. Same type of color palettes with this one, with the teal into the purple, into the red kind of covering here for this one, into the omega dark one, and that seems to be kind of a trend for all of the different weapons and transmogs here as far as the color palettes. I'm glad that they at least kept this consistent. Kind of wish that the tier sets were consistent with the classes as well as much as the weapons were. Now this one looks really intense. I want to zoom in on this one. It's almost like it's ribbon wrapped around here with some ethereal wrappings that kind of flow around the orb. This is definitely my favorite mace so far from all of the one-handed options. Comes in all of the same color palettes with the same type of animation, with this scrolling kind of text around the Void, as if it's some type of like containment spell that is banishing the power of the Void inside of this mace. So really cool color palettes with this one. And the dark purple, the silver, kind of light pink on this one. The red one looks like it's just absolutely ready to pop, as if the seal is going to be broken on it at any moment. Questing items look dope as well, with these kind of like hovering Void infused types of maces that you're going to be able to slam around with a bunch of different colors. Honestly, a really heavy focus on one-handed maces with this one, kind of Void powered nether storm style of transmogs as well with this. Even the green maces looking really cool for this patch. We move on to the two-handed weapons. These are kind of the big bad boys. It doesn't look like there's really anything. Let me make sure that I've filtered this out correctly, but as it stands right now, I think this Bryn Troll is definitely not new. There are not currently any axes available to be able to look at here, which is a little strange. So no axes, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. I'm not going to be able to take advantage of the orc specializations if that obviously was still around. But the swords, on the other hand, though, definitely look really cool. These are going to have some sick animations. I'd imagine like dual wielding these as a Fury Warrior, or even just as an Arms Warrior with one of these in your hand. They come in the purple, they come in the teal. Oh my god, bro, this color just works so well with the Necrolord set if you're going to be running this. Purple for the Void coming through. Same lightning animations consistently throughout. That's a really kind of nether storm type of vibe that they're providing to that. I do wonder if I'll be able to look at the PvP enchant available on this patch for the weapon, because they've kind of been lackluster throughout a lot of them. So definitely I'll keep an eye to check that one out. Once again, the dark purple is just, it's honestly my favorite color. if you didn't know that, but this kind of like dark royal purple is definitely my favorite color. So this is cool to see this weapon kind of focused around that. I'm gonna have to come up with some type of void shadow transmog to go along with it. We got the red one as well. This one looks sick, although it kind of reminds me of the sword from Dragonflight as well in the final tier. We have a vendor mount, the Arathi Crusader's Great Sword. Now this thing looks sick. I really like how this looks. Like, it's got a little bit of a wider hilt to it, but it feels unique. It feels like it carries weight. Unlike a lot of other weapons that might just look very similar. We've got crescent blades that look like they're made out of steel and kind of the void essence kind of powered up around them. And obviously with individual weapon enchants, you're able to customize these weapons even further. But two-handed swords seem to be like the big winner right now, from my own assessment here. We got two-handed maces. They didn't forget the maces, so you'll be able to smash. Not the biggest fan of these. It's given like a little bit of Draenei vibes, a little ethereal vibe. I don't know if it's just that I don't like the layout of the weapon itself. That's, radiating out of the hilt here, the shape that it's in. Kind of looks like a weapon that could almost form a scythe as well if it wanted to. But they decided to make it into a hammer. Maybe the other colors will be redeeming. Not my favorite. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's definitely not my favorite. They've got the lightning animations consistent still between all of them. The purple sets into the dark blue. Is my favorite color going to be able to carry it? Honestly, it kind of does. My favorite color a little bit kind of carries this mace. We've got fire for this one. We've got some really unique drops here as well. Some like wrench focused stuff. The Maw of the Void. This weapon is really cool. It's going to have some new effects as well for looting items. It's going to be able to gather them from ranged and have some kind of mechanical advantage as well as just looking really cool. It kind of reminds me of the TBC maces, the Merciless Glad ones with the spikes coming out, except now it's got this void circle that looks like it's just constantly consuming in the center of it, as if these spikes are trying to contain it and it's about to break out. And I think that this is from the current patch. I'd imagine a goblin weapon, this giant, I didn't even know this existed, but it looks pretty cool, with a little chainsaw rotating down on the bottom like it's about to explode. But yeah, the Maw of the Void I think is the weapon to really look out for as far as functionality. When we look at polearms, these guys, this is kind of a polearm patch. Seems like they took the blade from the sword and then just extended the hilt out almost between these ones. But these polearms look sick. I think dual wielding these, they kind of remind me of the Fell Reaver with a little bit more of an edge to them. Coming in all the same colors, the teal, the purple, the dark purple, my favorite color. This is just my favorite color. If this is your favorite color, please let me know in the comments, but I am definitely digging the polearms here. This looks like the PvP weapon, the Astral Gladiator Spear. Curious that is red, even though if my character's Alliance. I wonder if these will have any sort of like faction color palettes for them specifically in the future or not. Quest items that honestly look rad. Like, this is just a quest item. It's so weird to me. Sometimes the quest items like look better than a lot of the other ones. They're continuing forward with the Arathi Crusader kind of stick that they're going through with the new quest lines that came out with the Arathi. And this honestly looks almost like a staff. It's like a polearm. It looks like a staff. So you might be able to pull off some type of like wizard transmog, even as like a two-handed user. Although you can use staves anyways, so it's not a big deal there. But that's pretty much it for the weapons. Now, when we start looking at some other pieces, they have obviously very like plasma, kind of like almost ethereal level, different types of helmets that you're going to be able to go after as well, that come in all the same types of color palettes to match everything else. Interesting that we can use the warrior the warrior set here, which honestly kind of looks cool with the chain color with mine, but you get the ponytail with the chains coming through over onto the helmet. When we move to the shoulders, same type of case with these ones. These are all just world drops and vendors. If you want like specific sets and stuff like that, I've been covering them on my shorts. I just did a review of the different sets and their animations for those ones, but I'm trying to look at like some non-set related transmogs basically in this video. Very kind of generic cloaks. Not a big fan of like the tethered cloaks. I don't know if it's just like I've been scarred from TBC cloaks and like the quality that I expect from the cloaks, but I hate the mini cloaks where they cut them off about like halfway. But this questing set continues to be the same. It seems like through all of the different armor types here, just more ethereal focus and nothing really. I think just the weapons were kind of the main standouts. When we look at the shields, am I going to be able to look at the shields as a Death Knight? I'm not too sure. Interesting angle that the offhand weapon is going to be held at with that one. More void angled. I'm a big fan of the offhands that actually like you can see them when they're sheathed, whether it's like a book on your side or it's like a stick on your back. The ones that are hidden when you're attacking, although this one, again, my favorite color saving the day. It's not my favorite with the ones that are actually hidden, because like look how sick the animations are on this, and then it just like goes inside of your character in between that. And there's a bunch of different options for these ones. These almost look like wands, but they're offhands. So an interesting choice of transmogs as far as weapons and armor are concerned. I'd really like to be able to look at shields. I don't understand if I'm going to need to log on to a different character in order to look at that, but we can definitely give it a go here since I'm on the PTR and I have access to all of my classes basically, to be able to just hop over and see, because I think the shields could actually be really carrying in this patch, especially if they focused on like any sort of like Aldor theme from TBC, which I'm curious to see. But what sets are you most excited for with the patch? Or none of them catching your attention? You're just kind of like, these are all bad. Would love to know in the comments down below, because definitely some of them not big winners. Other ones I think are definitely big winners. It's important to keep like a balanced approach to the different sets and different transmogs here. As soon as I can figure out how to open this tab, we'll be able to look at some more appearances here. So we got this. We can. Okay, and they did. Look at that. It was worth it. It was worth sticking around. They focused on the Aldor shield that came from Gruul's lair with this setup, and it's been like really animated, pretty sick here. Comes in all the same colors, the pinks, the purples, the blues. My favorite one, I'm gonna have to get this. The gladiator seems to be red, is the main focus with this one. We can get wooden Stormwind shields. I don't know if these are intended to be in that patch, because they're rotated in with these ones, which kind of there's no way that this is, yeah, it says eco down. Like, it's kind of giving me Undermine vibes with the electricity that's coming off of this. Maybe they reused a little bit of that, but obviously I think it's the ethereal focus. But you're able to pick up the shield in all of the different colors as well. A little bit of a light pink tinge on this one. Definitely if you're a pink purple fan, I think you're gonna like the transmogs for this patch for sure. And if you're not so much, then you know, Void's not your theme. It's going to be kind of like Legion when everything was green, and if you've got fatigued to the green, you might want to have thrown in the towel at that point. But if you're into it, it's going to be a really good patch for you. And I really like, honestly, like how this Void shield looks with my Paladin's PvP Elite set. I might have to pick this up just to match it with his Elite set here. So always consider that some older sets that you have or items that you can fuse together here, because it's going to give you a lot of creative freedom. But that's basically it for the transmogs that have got me the most excited for patch 11.2. Thank you guys for hanging out with me during this video, and I will see you in the next one.